I'm recording this video in the summer of 2013, and in the past 20 years, there have been a lot of changes in my life, in the world, and the subject I'm going to get into here, the jazz business. The internet and technology have completely turned things around. Most record labels are gone, the revenue model is different. Mainly independent artists and small labels recording music, trying to get it out there. Very difficult to make an impression, especially for a new artist, in an attention-diverted, overcrowded marketplace. So the question becomes, what can a musician do to be noticed, to stand out? I think it's about branding. I think it's about identity. You have to give people a phrase that describes you. Why? Because in today's world, social media rules. We are bombarded with so many messages on a daily basis, we tend to tune them out. Who do we listen to? We listen to our friends. Where do we get the messages from our friends? On social media. How is social media affecting music? Greatly. There's really only one form of marketing that works today, and that's viral marketing, where one person tells another, that person tells their friends, it grows. Like those viral videos on YouTube. You get a link from a friend. Look at this. Suddenly that video has 20 million views. Artists today need to empower their audiences to viral market their music. That's the only way to break through now. When YouTube arrived in 2006, I realized it could be a distribution channel for my work, documenting musicians at performances, in interviews, in educational settings. But I knew that I had to have a way to describe what I was doing that was easy to share. Something that people would easily remember and that they could tell their friends about. Not just, first of all, not my name, Brett Primack. That's an extremely difficult name to remember and pronounce correctly. Brett is cool, Primack. So I tried to boil down what I do into 3 words. I started out saying documentary films about jazz musicians. That's too long. And then I had a light bulb moment. Jazz video guy. 3 words. Tells exactly what I do. Easy to remember, easy to share. I think musicians would benefit from thinking along those lines. It's not always easy to come up with that simple phrase, those 2 or 3 words. It represents an opportunity, though, to focus your marketing and your branding in a very distinctive way. Let me give you an example. I recently did some work with a very talented musician named Eric Wyatt. Eric is a saxophone player and also has just started singing. And he was thinking about ways to describe his music, what he's doing. He's got a recording coming out. He wants to reach more people. So we were talking about it, and I thought, well, let's see, what are the elements of his music? Well, there's the saxophone thing and there's the vocal thing. Obviously the first thing it said, well, he's a saxophone player who sings. That describes it, but it doesn't really make somebody want to listen. So a step further, what type of saxophone does he play? Well, if you listen to his music, I think you hear a pretty strong John Coltrane influence on there. Okay, maybe that's one side of the equation. And then he sings, he sounds, his style is like Barry White. How about John Coltrane meets Barry White? So when Eric Wyatt describes his music in that simple way, somebody says, Eric, what do you do? What is this? John Coltrane meets Barry White. Boom. Immediately that's interesting. Both, because people know Coltrane, they know Barry White. He puts them together. It's kind of intriguing, makes you want to listen to the music. That's just one example. Now, some people might say, that's a gimmick. Today, we need all the help we can get, whatever you want to call it, gimmick or whatever. There are careers today not in music per se, but in show business, of people who began a career by releasing a sex tape. That's a kind of gimmick. I mean, they certainly, some of those people have become rich and famous. I won't name them, but that's the world we live in, my friends. It's a tabloid media. It's a world where quality really doesn't matter, convenience does. But somehow the truth still gets through. And there's a lot of great music being created and played and listened to all over the planet. Just one person playing positive music wipes out a sea of negativity.